Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
The thing that is most misunderstood about sports radio is its function. It's not that you're supposed to look. There are shifts, there are day parts where if you want to get into the minutia, if you want to talk about cycling and what they do on special teams and all the other things that go into it, all the details that go into being an NHL team, there are shifts for that. There are hours of that. That's not what a morning show does. That's what a morning show isn't supposed to. I'm supposed to call someone or bring the coach on who will explain those moves. I bring the general manager on. I can bring on one of the players. This is what hosting a morning show does. I'm hard pressed to think that going to work for a job that you hate, for a boss who sucks, for you getting yelled at every day and maybe not getting the money that's worth it to you. Maybe you have a hard day where you're outside every day. Hey, there's a lot of people in Western Canada that listen to that show that weren't just from Calgary. They were also from Saskatchewan. And then, you know, these guys would be out working the fields and so on. They wanted to get some laughs in with a little bit of the sports. So what you want to do is be an entertaining guy, and hopefully you have the chops to actually do that. And then on the other side, you call someone who can explain all those things better than I can, better than any probably morning guy can, because there's a reason why they're a morning guy, because they were probably, for the most part, in broadcast and maybe not a great athlete. Look, my background is weird. It's different. I played at a very high level of sports, but I also started doing stand-up when I was in grade 12. Freak and weird. I was a goalie and a drummer. All the weird stuff that goes into this brain where I hear the voices. I'm sitting there looking at a football game. All of a sudden, I hear Peyton Manning going, what he should have done. What he should have done was you got to pull that back. You got to make them read into when you're going to play action pass. You don't just run with it, dummy. That's not RPO. This is what goes on in this head. This is what I have going on. Bob Cole,
I get it.
All kinds of stuff is going on there.
I don't even think it's weird.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
And we were on the road with the Rough Riders. Joe Womack was our strength coach, and he was rooming with Ron Estee. I'm coming down the elevator with Joe Womack, and he is so mad. And I'm like, what's wrong, Joe? And he goes, you wouldn't believe what Estee did. He's in his underwear, and he emptied the minibar. Smarties and the Kit Kats, thinking it's free, thinking it was a gift basket. And Joe looks at me, it ain't fun.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a brand new week here on the RP Show, your favorite daytime sports and entertainment talk show. We're coming at you live from the beautiful Grey Eagle Resort and Casino in Calgary in the beautiful Tsuut'ina Nation and the gateway to the foothills. And boy, do we have a lot of fun planned for you today. Oddly enough, we're still from the stage bar. I'm about 20 feet away from where I've been doing the show for the last 23 weeks. We just thought we'd switch things up a little bit here today and let you know that we are indeed in a casino in our second home, and it's fantastic. Coming up today, the greatest Anaheim Duck ever, Ryan Getzlaf, is going to be joining us. He's actually in Palm Desert, California. Palm Desert, Palm Springs. That's in hour 2. And Chad Jeter, former Saskatchewan Roughriders defensive lineman. Clark tells me he was in the United States Armed Forces or Air Force and is leaving and is into a new venture. He's a friend of the show. Great guy. Chad Jeter's joining us. I love that guy. That's coming up later on in hour 2. We'll talk some ball with him and a bit of a life update. Darren Moose DuPont joins us, and he is in Southern California ready to talk some sports here for a lot of the next 2 hours. And Moose, I've driven by that area of the world where you are, but I'm not totally familiar with it. Can you tell the folks what your situation is here this week?
Yeah, I had never been here either, but you and I have both been to Phoenix, Scottsdale, and that area. It feels a lot like it here in Palm Springs. Very, very similar to that Phoenix kind of vibe, except I'm looking at snow-covered mountains out in the distance. So it's got the desert, plus it's got the California mountains. It's a pretty special place.
So where are you?
I'm right in Palm Desert, right in the Palm Springs area.
Cool. Okay, because I'm sorry, I didn't know the difference between Palm Springs and Palm Desert. Are the same? Are they neighboring communities? Are they the same thing? What are they?
I would say it's just like when you say you're going to Phoenix, but you're actually in Scottsdale, or you're in Glendale, or you're in Mesa, Arizona.
Okay.
It's all kind of the greater area of the Palm Springs area.
I almost feel like we could give you a microphone and you can just wander over to wherever Ryan Getzlaff is, because I feel like you guys are about 100 yards apart.
How about
and I can go
that?
have a sandwich.
That would be great.
So that's yeah. Well, I'm saying you might be on the lookout for a big 6'7", 6'5" moose-looking hockey player with a shaved head. Okay, because he's around that area and he's coming up in hour 2 here on the RP show. So that's the deal. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please? Kevin the Medium has checked in and says, I like the new look. So do I. I really like it too. It's exciting. It's a vibe. And Jack from Vulcan, Alberta writes in and he says, Palm Desert's where we stay all of the time. Yeah, I got to get down there, but we can't be everywhere all the time. So I'm going to open with golf, and Moose has a great story here that I'm going to get to shortly. John Rahm shot a final round 69 to capture his first Masters championship on Sunday by 4 strokes over LIV golfers Brooks Koepka and Phil Mickelson, becoming the 4th player from Spain to win the green jacket. Rahm finished at 12 under, 276, pulling away from Koepka, who entered the final round with a 2-stroke lead. Mickelson matched his best round ever at the Masters with a 65. Rahm becomes the first Spaniard to win the Masters since Sergio Garcia did it in 2017. Here's my Masters Sunday thing. Not the biggest golf guy, but watching it. And I'm with my buddy Corey. That's all I'll say. And he's like, I hope Koepka doesn't win. He's a jerk. And I said, how do you know that? And he goes, well, I watched the Netflix series on him, and he came off as a real jerk. I guess it's a behind-the-scenes thing of the PGA and LIV. I don't know. Here's where I am now, Moose. I don't care whether they're a jerk or not. I mean, I was pulling for the LIV guys because I'm always have been historically the rebel, so I get it. But I don't know him, so why would I say that I want him to lose because he's a jerk? So yeah, but in the end, everything happens for a reason. John Rahm overtook him, and it ended up being a great story. But yeah, people don't like Brooks Koepka. If you didn't know that going into the weekend, which I already did, it became very evident coming out of the Masters.
Yeah, it really did. It was PGA versus LIV at the end, and that was what my social media timelines were filled with. It was people wanting John Rahm to win, wanting Brooks Koepka to fail, and you and I both sit here never wanting anybody to fail. But it was entertaining right down to the wire. Phil put up that number, had a really good round, and I thought for a while there that maybe John Rahm would come back into the pack and maybe Phil would squeak into a playoff. But no, it was fun. They finally got to play after rain delays, and the Masters ended up being a success.
Yeah, it was a fun Sunday, fun weekend. It was a nice break from sitting there watching hockey all day and night. Yeah, so before we do move on to hockey, you've got a funny golf story that everything that I've been telling you about America and hockey fans is now becoming clear to you with the time you're spending down there.
Very, very clear, Rod. We were on the golf course the other day over the weekend, and the 3 of us got paired with a 4th. And a young guy named Brett, he was a PE teacher, a coach, high school coach too, coached basketball and softball, so a sports guy. And I have this old Toronto Maple Leafs golf bag that I take with me when I travel. And he looked at the bag halfway through the round, and he says, Toronto Maple Leafs. Is that a hockey team? He had no idea. One of the most, notorious and maybe popular or noteworthy teams in the National Hockey League. He had no idea who they were. So I told him, and he said, "Did you play for them?" No, sorry, I didn't. Maybe I should have told him I played for them, but it was funny to get that window into America and just get a real sense of where hockey lands with Americans. And I know he doesn't speak for all Americans, but that was wild. We were all blown away.
It's not uncommon. And you can't, I'm not saying you are, you can't get upset about it. You just got to smile and laugh. And it's not entirely different than the NBA in Canada. For instance, if you were golfing at Deer Valley someday and some guy looked over at you and said, the Charlotte Hornets, who are they? Would that really surprise you necessarily? You know what I mean? That wouldn't surprise me. So it's just kind of the the flip of the two things. Those that love it a lot in America, and that don't even know about it, don't even know about it. Weird, I know. But from the viewers, Landry writes in, says, best story was amateur Sam Bennett. He goes from the Masters now to a 36-round tournament today where he has to carry his own bag. How about that? Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says this competition and different leagues are great for golf. Yeah, I think so. But you're also a football fan, Nelson. People are trashing the XFL and the USFL. That's competition's a good thing. But does that extend to pro football? Because the CFL fans would not agree, of which he's one. Phil, 3223, writes in. He says, thank God it's Monday. What a weekend. Jets win on Saturday, UFC Saturday night. Jays win a hell of a game yesterday, and I have 5 pounds of Baba bread in me. Let's go. That's from Phil. You see the UFC's coming to Vancouver. I watched the announcement of it. Dana White there, and is it Aaron Bronstetter, TSN's UFC expert out of New York? He says Canada might well be the #1 UFC hotspot in the world outside of the USA. I wouldn't doubt that for a second. Here in Calgary, they routinely sell out the Saddle Dome for that. So, yeah, exciting times there. Now, moving on to hockey. We're only at hockey, point 2. The visiting Boston Bruins broke the NHL single-season wins record by beating the Philadelphia Flyers 5-3 for their 63rd victory of the year behind David Pasternak's hat trick that got him 60 goals for the first time in his career. The Bruins passed the 2019 Tampa Bay Lightning and 1996 Detroit Red Wings, who had each had 62-win seasons. So on Thursday, our last show, Bernie Nichols was on here, and I don't think he thinks the President's Trophy will be the kiss of death for the Boston Bruins, but what he's saying is it might be the kiss of death for the Boston Bruins. And I'm not going to sit here and run through the results of the weekend. Let's just talk about the Bruins for a second, because everybody else is. It's wonderful being around the hockey people out here in Calgary and the NHL people. They're all blown away by the Bruins and saying they're old. Like, they're very old. And nobody wanted Taylor Hall like this. Nobody really saw this coming. And when they fired Bruce Cassidy and replaced him with Jim Montgomery, like, I'd said a Vegas-Boston Stanley Cup final would be great for drama, but so too would a Boston-Dallas Stanley Cup final, because the Stars fired Jim Montgomery, and when he got out of rehab, the Stars were asked if they were going to hire Monty back, and they said, no. So they left him for dead. Hell of a story, the Boston Bruins, is my point.
Unbelievable. I mean, this is one of the greatest seasons. You talk about greatest seasons in NHL history. You know, when you talk about what Boston's doing, and this has to be right up there. I mean, outstanding. And especially when you think of how many really good teams there are in the National Hockey League and how tight it's been, and with loser points and with all the extra things that go into it. And quietly too. I mean, especially, you know, up in Canada, we're all talking about how great the Oilers have been, and statistically, as of late, they've been better than the Boston Bruins. But the Bruins, to be so consistently good from start to finish, and to have this type of lead in the race for the President's Trophy is unprecedented, and it's been fun to watch.
I would be happy for them to win the Stanley Cup. I would be happy for the Toronto Maple Leafs to win the Stanley Cup. I would be happy for just about anybody to win the Stanley Cup, to be honest with you. But because of Jim Montgomery and our personal connection to recovery, I might be cheering more for them than anybody else on that side. By the way, we're working our way through the quick 6 show topics. We're going to get to Game 7 tonight between God's team, the Regina Pats, and Darren's team, the Saskatoon Blades. OBJ in the news, NBA. So just hang on. We're going to get to it all here in our daily morning coffee session, or afternoon for our viewers in the East. But point 3, the Toronto Blue Jays wrapped up their 10-game season opening road trip in L.A. with a wild 12-11 win in 10 innings over the Angels. Tim Meza retired Shohei Ohtani with the bases loaded for the final out, and the Blue Jays got 5 RBIs each from Matt Chapman and Kevin Kiermaier. Chapman hit a grand slam in the 6th, and Kiermaier doubled home the tie-breaking run in the 10th for the Blue Jays, who overcame an early 6-run deficit. That was a wild game. I watched it at my buddy Randy's with his wife Brenda and Cochran. Great people. They watch every single day. And I had a great time with him. Oh, he's a restaurateur, by the way. Greek ribs, Greek potatoes, Greek salad. The Blue Jays home opener is Tuesday against the Detroit Red Wings. So you caught some Blue Jays baseball, as I saw on your social media on the weekend.
Yeah, caught the only loss of the weekend on this series, unfortunately enough, but it was fun. It was a good series. We were following the Jays game. I was following it closely yesterday with the Masters going on, coming down to the final outs. I mean, that Angels team is really good with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani back-to-back near the top of the order. It was good. The Jays are off to a great start, and I think there's a reason to continue to be optimistic about this Jays season and how well they're doing, and they're backing it up early on. So they earned a good one last night to take the series, and I'm sure Jays fans are excited for them to finally come home and play.
Yes and no. As I look at the viewer response here, and the audience was Blue Jays third. Why are we even looking at the standings? Give me a break. But John in Rosetown writes in, and he says, the Jays' starting pitching will be their Achilles heel. Offense is in good shape. Manoah and Gosman reliable. Everyone else is a waste of time. Kikuchi experiment over. It's not even 2 weeks into the season, so chill. Brian is watching in Beausejour, Manitoba. And he says, good morning, RP show crew. Wow, wasn't that a brouhaha on Thursday in Sunrise versus the Senators? The Panthers have kicked it up a notch. Haven't they? And I was talking with hockey guys over the weekend. Now it would be Boston and the Islanders in Florida versus Carolina if the playoffs started today. And listen, man, that rink in Sunrise was full for the Ottawa Senators. They never fill the rink for the Ottawa Senators. I've watched them play there several times now, but it was Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk. But they'll never fight each other. And they've said that. And apparently their mom doesn't want them to, which I think is weird because I fought my brothers all the time, even into being an adult. You ever fought have you had a checking haymakers with your brothers as adults? Because I have. I don't know what the Tkachuks have against that.
Yeah, we haven't. We haven't yet. As kids, we got into it a little bit when the wrestling matches got a little too heated. But for the most part, no. Like it hasn't happened for us, so I get it. But I also get when the moment happens, especially in a hockey game, you're not thinking about who you're squaring up with. So I wouldn't say say never when it comes to the Tkachuks going toe to toe.
My brother, the Cowboy, who may or may not be watching right now, will attest to this. This actually happened. He's 6 years older than me. And for all our childhood, he would just toss me around, put his hand on my forehead, right? And I'd be swinging at him like the thing. But then we got into our 20s, and I took him down on the kitchen floor at Mom and Dad's, and I spun him by the leg around like a helicopter on the kitchen floor. It was over. Things changed that day. Another baseball note, the Tampa Bay Rays matched the best start to a Major League Baseball season in 20 years, routing the Oakland A's 11-0 for a 9-0 record. Hey, SJHL fans, get your tickets now for the SJHL raffle for your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side. Tickets are available now at sjhlraffle.ca and are on sale until April 23rd. Tickets are 1 for $25, 3 for $30, or 10 for $100. All proceeds from the raffle support the SJHL and its member teams. That's sjhlraffle.ca. Don't wait. Get your tickets today. Moose, we're going to take a break. We're right on time. I have left my breaking news bell and my gong somewhere on the stage. So on the break, I'm going to find it and come back and talk a little Game 7. We're going to talk Jets, Sharks, Leafs, Panthers, Flames, Preds, little OBJ. So sit tight. We'll be right back after this brief pause on the Game Plus Television Network and WQEE, The Key, and the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
How about that? A live look-in at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on this Monday. It is episode number 976 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. Ryan Getzlaff and Chad Jeter coming up. Obviously, we're working our way towards Game 7 of the Pats and the Blades tonight. In the SaskTel Center, there'll be close to 15,000 on hand in beautiful Saskatoon. Let's bring the Moose back in. He is in Palm Springs, California. And before we get back on the hockey track, from the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens have agreed to a one-year contract with Odell Beckham Jr., boosting their flagging wide receiver group. While the team's quarterback situation remains far from certain, the Ravens announced the move on Sunday. The 30-year-old Beckham did not play last season following ACL surgery. Beckham joins a Baltimore team that used the franchise tag on quarterback Lamar Jackson, who has asked to be traded. Beckham has 5 1,000-yard seasons, but none since 2019 with Cleveland. So that is the poll question today for our friends at Key Auto Group. Do you feel that he will be catching passes from Lamar Jackson in 2023, OBJ? A word about Key Auto Group. They have the largest selection of quality new and pre-owned vehicles in the Parkland area. Cars, trucks, SUVs, your journey begins at keyautogroup.ca. They sponsor our daily poll. So, Moose, I voted yes. I think although that marriage between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens appears to be in troubled waters, it's not easy to get rid of a franchise quarterback. The Packers are still trying to do that with Aaron Rodgers, and they haven't made that trade yet. How are you going to get rid of Lamar Jackson? I got to think he's back in Baltimore this year, throwing to OBJ. My vote is yes. How about you?
My vote's yes, too. Look, Green Bay and Baltimore have the power because neither of them have to trade the quarterback. Neither of them have to, and the quarterback can't go and play unless he's released from his contract or traded. And so for both of them, those teams, Green Bay and Baltimore, need to get what they want back in a trade deal. And if it's not there, they're not going to trade him. You know, John Harbaugh has said he wants Lamar Jackson back as his quarterback and says he believes that Lamar can come right back into the locker room and have a positive impact and win games for this team. And now with OBJ coming into the fold, there's been photos and exchanges between the two. It's more and more likely that he comes back. And I don't know if OBJ would have signed in Baltimore without some kind of reassurance from Lamar Jackson that he was going to be there as his quarterback. So now it's just about getting a deal done. They have until, I believe, the middle of July to make that happen and get an extension done for Lamar Jackson. So I think now it should just be a formality, and we should stop focusing on trade talks and start looking at what's the number going to be when he signs.
Well, Carlos in Indianapolis watching says, I can picture Lamar Jackson sitting out the season. Al Bundy watching, apparently, who says OBJ is going to do squat, 700 yards for 18 mil. Well, if he's only 30, I would have put him older than that. With a lot of checkered past guys like that, you tend to think that they've been around forever because it feels like they've been around forever. 30, with his talents, I think he could surprise a lot of people. And signing him somewhat for a bargain. Okay, John Ohm in Winnipeg has tuned in. I got my props. I found them. Moose, he says, go Pats, go, Game 7. So I need everybody to play along in their participation. And Seth, you too, and anybody here live at Grey Eagle with what you think about this situation that's going on tonight in Game 7. Western Hockey League first round. You don't just have to be fans of either of these teams to have an opinion on what went down Saturday night in Game 6. I'm listening to the game. Regina, if they lose, the series is over. They score to make it 5-3 in the third period. It's a controversial goal. The in-arena cameras from the Western Hockey League were inconclusive whether the goal was a good goal or not. The game is being televised on regional television on Access 7. So the director of officiating, the referee supervisor, a good friend of mine, Tim Tisdale, for the Dub, walks down the press box and says, hey, guys, can we get a look at your angles? And on those angles, it was very clear the Pats scored. They rule it's a goal. Regina goes on to win 5-3 and forces Game 7 tonight. Well, in a regular season game, there's no television broadcast. That angle's not available, and you're not allowed really to use anything but what's in the arena. But this is the playoffs. Tim Tisdale, friend of mine for a long time. He used to coach the Pats. We worked together. He wanted to get the call right, and did. So I believe he did the right thing. But the rule is kind of that you can't do that, has been my understanding. And the Saskatoon Blades are furious. They're incensed. You were losing anyways, Saskatoon? But I digress. Anything to divert the real reason. But I'm a Pats fan. I'm a Tisdale fan. So clearly I don't have any issue with what happened Saturday night to force Game 7. But I'm not necessarily saying I'm right. Where do you stand on the issue?
Yeah, it's a complex one. I'm probably a little more upset if the score ended 5-4 and the Blades had scored a goal in the final 10 minutes. Right? I'm probably a little more upset because it might have affected the game. The fact is they didn't, so it becomes a moot point. But if, again, I'd have to look at the rule. If the rule says you're not, you're supposed to use the in-house cameras and that's it, then it was wrong to go down and look at the footage. Shouldn't have done it. That was wrong. If that's the rule. But for me, as soon as you see, even if it's on a Jumbotron, on somebody's cell phone, on the Access 7 footage, as soon as I see that the goal was a good goal, how in good conscience can I say it's no goal? Right? That's the same as football officials looking up at the Jumbotron on a penalty call that they're looking at, seeing it plain as day. Once I see that, I can't unsee that. And in good conscience, I got to make the right call. So should he have gone down there? Probably not. But once you see it, it's hard to reverse it after that.
I love the debate, and I don't really normally like to talk about officiating, but this is not about in my mind, it's not about the teams involved. It's about what happened, because this could happen in any rink, in any league. Almost the NHL, as you said just before we went to the air, the refs aren't supposed to look at the video replay on the scoreboard. They're not supposed to. Sometimes they do, though. You know? So
yeah,
it comes back to that thing. Sean in Vancouver is watching on Game Plus television right now. This is the kind of the discussion I wanted to get going here. He says if it's inconclusive on the first look and the call was originally a goal, shouldn't it stand? Go Pats, says Sean. He's right. But put yourself, because most people don't have empathy. You do, I do. It's different than sympathy. Empathy is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and knowing how they feel. And maybe I'm getting a little more wound up because I know Tim really well, and it's my favorite team against your favorite team. But you're sitting there, and he's like looking down, looked at it 18 different ways, and he can't, or more, and he can't. He's like, well, they have a better, hang on. It's a heat of the moment thing. And he wanted to do the right thing. You know, there's a difference between murder and attempted murder. What's your intent? He wanted to do the right thing and get the call right. And I feel like this would have made a pretty good poll question today. Who was right? But I can't explain it in 140 characters. But it's like it's a 50-50 thing. And now, the sad part, if this is true, and I don't necessarily have any reason to believe it's not, I was reading Greg Drinnan's blog today because it's like the only place you can get good Western Hockey League coverage. He's saying, if this is to be believed, that Tim Tisdale will be removed as the supervising official supervisor for Game 7 tonight, and Marcel Como is going to come in, former coach of the Saskatoon Blades and Kelowna Rockets, to perform that role. And if that's true, I find that disappointing because Tim is a man of integrity. He's a man of backbone. And again, he wanted to do the right thing. So don't know whether that's true or not, but that's what I hear. Thoughts?
I'm a big believer in intent, Rod. You know, I think intent matters a lot. I really do. I think, you know, if you doing the right thing and having the right intentions, even if the results aren't right or happen the way you want them to, I think intent should matter a lot. It really should. But on the flip side, I understand if Tim's not going to be part of the Game 7, I understand that too. And it's not to discipline Tim, because if he's doing the right thing, we all know Tim's character is right at the top, right? I mean, nothing to do about that. But if it removes a distraction and removes any sort of grievance that could come from one side or the other, then I think you got to do that, keep it about the game, not have any distractions, and just let the chips fall where they land here in Game 7.
Yeah. Drama. Tell me again why this isn't the best time of year. It certainly is for me. From the viewers, and we're going to get into the NHL next segment, by the way, because they're loving this, but also there's a lot of important NHL stuff going on. Glenn in Medicine Hat says, it's funny how we can put 6,000 people in the same arena on the same night and they all see a different hockey game. Go figure. But that's the point. But we got to offer our opinions. My good friend Rick Dirksen, who I would like to get down here someday, official referee-in-chief of the Western Hockey League, said you could show 10 guys the same play on film and you'll get 10 different opinions of what happened. So you got to have a backbone in their role too, right? John Ohm says this should be a lesson to the WHL. That what? That the rule book needs to be rewritten? I mean, I talked to Serena about this morning. She doesn't agree with us, believe it or not. She says if the rule states you can only use the WHL cameras, then you should only use the WHL cameras. And she's a Pats fan. But who's the guy here that writes it? Landry says it's 2023. Any and all available footage should be allowed to be looked at to get the call right. Leave it to Landry to say exactly what I couldn't say that I was fumbling to get out. I'm in the recovery world. I'll use every tool in my tool belt to help somebody with mental health issues or addiction issues. Every tool. And not everybody's like that. So I call it whatever works, WW. I'm a whatever works guy. Works there. Why can't it work here? Change the rule book if you have to. Craig Smith, our director of scouting, Craig Smith, says it's going to be tough for the Jets and Pats tonight. Jets have had trouble with Reimer and the Sharks. When we come back, we will talk about tonight's games in the National Hockey League because it's must-win for everybody. We said this was a topic today was going to be Seventh Heaven and must-win Monday in the National Hockey League. John in Edmonton says, I cannot wait to see how Daryl Sutter is going to react to being eliminated tonight. Well, I can tell you that hang on. Wait till we come back, and we'll get into that. 902-518-3033. And more of your comments. Jeff, by the way, in Winnipeg's watching on Game Plus TV, and he says, it's sad that we cannot see on Canadian TV Game 7, Sask versus Regina. U Sport, Team Canada, CHL, all being passed over for overrated American programming. And Jeff goes on to say, hockey needs to adopt technology to help refs with goals. Smart guy, this Jeff. He's never written in before. We need more guys like Jeff watching this show. So like I say, hey, I can't speak for the Canadian networks. I can speak for us. And we're talking about it every day. And we love it. We'll be right back. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, live streaming, and on WQEE and the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Having a look at Calgary's entertainment destination, the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. And before we bring the Moose back in, a sports update on this Monday. The Winnipeg Jets can move a step closer to securing an NHL playoff berth with a win over the visiting San Jose Sharks tonight. The Jets are 1 point up on Calgary in the race for the final wildcard spot in the West. Flames home to the Nashville Predators will be there. The Preds sit 3 back of the Jets. Elsewhere tonight, Ottawa hosts Carolina. Toronto visits Florida. And Vancouver is in Los Angeles. Breaking news from MLSC today. Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment is bringing back its tailgating parties for the NHL and NBA postseasons. Festivities will begin on Wednesday as the Raptors host the Chicago Bulls in a one-and-done NBA play-in game. The Leafs have also clinched the spot. The Stanley Cup playoffs will begin April 17th. In Major League Baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays look to remain perfect when they visit the Boston Red Sox today. The Rays are the first team to start 9-0 since the 2003 Kansas City Royals. The 6-4 Blue Jays play their home opener Tuesday against Detroit. This sports updates for Landmark Cinemas. Enter to win a movie night out at Landmark Cinemas for movie lovers only. All you have to do is text MOVIES to 902-518-3033 to be entered. Winners picked every Friday. In theaters now, the Super Mario Brothers movie. While working underground to fix a water main, Brooklyn plumbers Mario and brother Luigi are transported down a mysterious pipe and wander into a magical new world. Starring Chris Pratt, you know him from Jurassic World, and Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. In theaters now, Landmark Cinemas, Super Mario Brothers movie. The Moose is here, and he is in Palm Springs. And to be honest, Darren, I want to go see that. And I see a lot of my friends are going to it and taking their kids, and they're loving it. But I went Friday night to see the movie Air, and it's unbelievable. And what's interesting about this, Landmark Cinemas give us a list of movies that they want promoted. I guess they feel like Air doesn't need to be promoted because it wasn't on the list. And all my friends are like, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. They were right. It's awesome. And I didn't even know about this movie coming out because I'm in my own world. Did you know about the movie Air? I didn't even know about it till late last week. So I went to it. And
well,
it was
to be honest, I didn't really see the previews.
Yeah, the story of Nike signing up Michael Jordan as their first sports influencer. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't see the previews. I didn't see a bunch of hype. But all of a sudden, you're right, last week I'm like, I see somebody sent me it, I see a preview, and all of a sudden I'm like, this looks like one of the best movies ever, especially for a sports fan.
Yeah.
And I saw on your social that you were going to the movie, and I instantly got jealous, and I'm like, I gotta go. So that'll be, mission number 1 when I get back is to go see Air. So I guess, did you give it an official review yet?
2 thumbs up, 2 enthusiastic thumbs up for the movie Air. Matt Damon. Hello. Ben Affleck. Yes, please. And Jason Bateman. Approved. What a cast.
Cool.
They all work for Nike.
Cool.
It's fantastic. Okay, moving on. John in Edmonton says, Rod, what do you think the Regina Pats will have to do to capitalize on Bedard not being with them next season to get fans to actually show up and fill the arena? Hey, John, not my problem. It's theirs. How about that?
How about that?
Dan in Saskatoon says, I went to Super Mario on Good Friday at Landmark Cinemas. Great staff, comfortable seats, and a tremendous experience. Thanks, Landmark Cinemas. It's so comfortable there. I love it. You stretch out. Sometimes I pay $5 extra to get the real VIP seats. Yeah. So, okay. So the Jets are home to San Jose. I will give the Jets some of my 10 things column on the weekend, too. I'll give them credit. I'll give the Florida Panthers credit. In gut check time when the chips are down, they've delivered. Aside from last Wednesday's home loss to the Calgary Flames, which would have pretty much snuffed out the Flames. I mean, I feel like this is going to go down to the last day of the regular season, which it should. Overall, I would say the Winnipeg Jets deserve to get in more than the Calgary Flames. Who's better? That's why we play the games. That's why we have standings. If at the end of the day, at the end of the regular season, Winnipeg ends up in the playoffs and Calgary doesn't, then clearly Winnipeg's better. I've been in this town long enough now, over a year. I'll never not be a Sutter guy for the rest of my life, but I can also understand why the media is not. And we talked last week about some of the Calgary media or former media taking shots at me now because I'm defending Daryl. Listen, Daryl and I aren't close, but if we plan to be in Alberta a lot, which I do for a long time, it's not real smart to be on the Sutter's bad side because you can't swing a sock in this province without hitting a Sutter. And as you know, with me, Daryl, Corey Pedersen, by the way, said to say hi, Daryl. They got issues, all right. The Flames got issues. But I feel like every team has issues to a degree. The Oilers probably don't. It doesn't appear like the Boston Bruins have issues, but the Calgary Flames have issues that they'll sort out in 10 days' time if they don't make the playoffs. But overall, I mean, for my own personal sake, I want the Flames in and the Jets not in because I'm here. And it'll be a lot funner here if the Flames are in. So anyways, I'm going to the Flames and the Preds tonight. I had a lot of Pats fans saying, are you going to Saskatoon? You got to go to Saskatoon. Nah, brah. No, those days are over. I'll be following it very closely. But your take, Darren, on this race to end the regular season.
It's something, man. And when you say Winnipeg deserves it, I think you're bang on. They have stepped up when it matters. They've won tough games. Yeah, outside of the Calgary game for sure. But this is going to come right down to the wire, as it should. And you know what, from Calgary's perspective, you know what solves your problems? Winning. You win a few games and you can solve a lot of problems by winning. And I know the Jets have a game in hand, but if Calgary, and they probably have to win, their 2 remaining games, it's easy. I mean, not that easy, but it's very capable for them to win 2 games and finish the season, with 94 points and put the ball back in the Jets' court to have to win some games here down the stretch. So I think it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll worry about house cleaning stuff if and when that time happens that the Flames miss the playoffs.
That's a good point. 902-518-3033, the number to reach us here in the studio. Myself, a Gray Eagle, Darren in Palm Springs. Jeff Bose says, Sutter was good when they were winning, bad when losing. The team makeup is flawed. Yeah, well, isn't now a hell of a time to figure that out? See, this is what people don't understand. You can't change horses midstream. You can't stop the train from going off the track. It needs to go off the track, and that's when the recovery process starts. And so the Flames aren't there yet. Kevin the Medium says, okay, I need to go to a movie soon. LOL, movie popcorn is the best. It is. And by the way, I toned it down the other day. No hot dog, no Reese's Pieces.
What?
I know. I was starting to feel a little guilty with my diet choices. So I only ate 1 extra large bag of popcorn and 1 full bag of nibs. That's all. Craig, and a Diet Coke, of course, to keep me alive.
Of course.
Right, of course. That'll negate all the effects. From our director of scouting, Craig Smith, at least the weather is getting better. 10 degrees Celsius now. Feels like Palm Springs. End of the week, the snow will be gone. It is nice. It is nice to not be freezing your cajones off. Trevor in Winnipeg says San Jose has had the Jets' number this year. That is a fact, and I think the Flames are 0-2 against the Preds this year. They're 0-3 against the Blackhawks. We have to break. We'll talk about this more when we come back. And then next hour, Ryan Getzlaff, which I have some very interesting questions for him, and I hope you do too. Write in the text line if you would like yours answered. I'll kick this around more about what I think's next for the Calgary Flames, because people are talking about Daryl should be fired by the end of the week if they miss, and that's not going to happen. I'll tell you how that process goes. We'll be right back. We're broadcasting live, as always, from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination, on the Game Plus television network and WQEE Radio and the Fringe Radio Network.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat. Lot of sun, smoky in the air. That's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
There's a look in Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. By the way, folks, new partners of ours and new sponsors of the Daily Poll is Key Auto Group. Key Auto Group has the largest selection of quality new and pre-owned vehicles in the Parkland area. Cars, trucks, SUVs. Your journey begins at keyautogroup.ca. And our poll question today for Key Auto Group is, will Odell Beckham Jr. be catching passes from Lamar Jackson in 2023? Because the Ravens signed OBJ on Sunday, $15 million 1 year. But they're not sure if Lamar Jackson is going to be their quarterback next season. I voted yes. The Moose voted yes. And the last I looked, 80% of respondents voting yes. They'll get it sorted out with Lamar. Is that roughly what it is on YouTube, Clark? Because that's what the Twitter vote is.
Actually, 55% no.
Oh, 55% saying no on YouTube. That's quite interesting. Let's bring the Moose in. Man, this show every single day is so much fun. I never worry about what we're going to talk about. We got a lot of things to get to, Darren. But you were on the call. Let's just say we were meeting with, you were on the call, right? The Las Vegas hotel. Was it last week? Were you on that or were you not? Yeah, and they were like, we're talking about Super Bowl next year. And they're like, why would you like to partner with the NFL? I resisted the chance to say, duh. It's now Canada's most popular football league. Sorry to say, it is. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the biggest sports brand in the world. I know the soccer fans will disagree with that, but I've had more response to whether Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be catching passes to Lamar than just about anything else, although there is dub stuff, but what evidence of the NFL have you seen in Palm Springs since you've been there for almost a week?
It's everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, from merchandise to, you name it, people talking about it, advertisements already for season tickets and the games in and around LA. I mean, it is absolutely the most prominent. I mean, we're in the early weeks, the first couple weeks of baseball season, so you see a lot of that for sure. But I walk into the stores, the sports stores here, and it's NFL this, NFL that, and it is very big down here, obviously.
Well, and that's why if you remember on that call, the hotel, and I won't say which one, but why do you want to partner with the NFL? There was like a pause. I'm like, is this a trick question?
Yeah.
And that reminds me, I said going into the break, I'm sure it was a trick question, but I said going into the break, I would talk about how things are going to work with the Calgary Flames. From what I understand, however this season ends and whenever it ends, the general manager will have one-on-one meetings with the coaches, one-on-one meetings with the players, and how those will go, I don't know, but that's how the process works. And I just remember, it was at midway through the 2011 season or at the end of the season. Sorry to relate stuff back to the Canadian Football League, but that was what I was associated with for so long. And I'll name the people. Our general manager was Brendan Taman. Our quarterback was Darian Durant. And our offensive coordinator was a gentleman by the name of Doug Barry, whom I like now. I didn't like at the time, and Darian didn't like him at all. And Darian and I were very close. So Darian's like, he's like, Clark's telling me 90 seconds. We don't have much time. Might have to push this dub stuff the next hour. But anyways, Brendan, our general manager, brought in the quarterback and said, how do you feel about the offensive coordinator? Darian's like, is this a trap? Is Doug hiding behind the door? Are they recording this? You're asking me to trash my coordinator to the general manager? And he's like, I have no problem with him. I have no problem with him. And if you know Darian, he would do that because he didn't trust him. So if Brad Treliving calls in players and say, what do you think of Darryl? Be honest. It'd be the same thing. Last minute of play in hour one. Some players will tell the truth. Some will probably be very uncomfortable doing that. On that WHL thing, Moose, regarding them going to the television replays to make a critical call, Rick in Martinsville, Sask says, really bad look for the dub. Bedard money rolling in, playing a part? Rules are there for a reason. Doesn't matter what's available if the rules say no. On the flip side, Wilf in Steinbach, Manitoba says, hi, Rod and Moose. The officials should use whatever legit source to get the call right. I tell you, I can find a controversy. I can sniff it out like a fart in the car. And we got it here. So, polar opposite. And it ain't over yet. Moose, we'll see you next hour.
See you then.
Ryan Getzlaf, too, and Chad Jeter coming up after this.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients. yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
And we were on the road with the Rough Riders. Joe Womack was our strength coach, and he was rooming with Ron Estee. I'm coming down the elevator with Joe Womack, and he is so mad. And I'm like, what's wrong, Joe? And he goes, you wouldn't believe what Estee did. He's in his underwear, and he emptied the mini box. Smarties and the Kit Kats, thinking it's free, thinking it was a gift basket. And Joe looks at me, it ain't fun.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. A brand new week being rung in here from Calgary's entertainment destination, the beautiful Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, on a very big day in sports. 10 NHL games, must-winners for the Jets, home to the Sharks, the Flames, home to the Preds. Game 7, Regina Pats, Saskatoon Blades, SaskTel Center tonight. Wow. Connor Bedard and company looking to move on to round 2. But I'm very excited. Oddly enough, I haven't had a chance to interview this guy that much over his career. Ryan Getzlaf joining us from Southern California, 1,157 NHL games, 1,019 points. Regina kid, Calgary Hitman grad, and a Hall of Famer in waiting. Getz, welcome to the RP Show. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, Getz, listen, of the long list of your accomplishments, the latest is the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame. It was announced on Thursday. You're going in this year along with Haley Wickenheiser and a lot of greats. Of all the awards, what did it mean to you when you found out about that accolade?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, that's what a great honor to be, representing Saskatchewan like that. I've been trying to do my best to represent it the best way I can for a long time, and to have that honor to be solidified in that spot forever is going to be a really cool day.
Congratulations, and I hope to be in attendance when they do it. And I'm probably going to jump around here, Locke, because as I say, I don't get to interview as much as I probably like. And April 29th, Ryan and his brother Chris and I will be doing a sports banquet in Penn, Saskatchewan. But I'm in Calgary now, and I walk around the Saddledome all the time at these Flames games, Hitman games, Wranglers, and you're on the pillar there. All-time Hitman. I mean, that's got to feel pretty cool, too. What do you think about your time in Calgary with the Hitman? This is a long time ago, brother.
I know. It seems like forever ago now, but you know what? Calgary was a great city for me. A second home. They kind of adopted me from Regina when I left, and so many great years of development there. I think those junior years are so crucial. In propelling your future, especially in hockey, and both away from the rink and at the rink. I learned a lot in that city, and couldn't be more grateful for everything that happened there.
Yeah, such a great city, and they love you. And these are the kinds of things we'll be talking about in Pence, and I'll give people an opportunity to where they can buy tickets in a moment. But as you know, really good friends with your dad and your mom. We've had these conversations with him. If you had been drafted by the Pats and played for the Pats, how do you think that would have changed your life?
I don't know. It's hard to say. In hindsight, who knows? I'd like to think that I still would have ended up where I am today, but you never know. Playing in your hometown in junior is not an easy thing. Harder to get away from the hustle and bustle of all the other stuff going on around you. I think when you go away to junior, you have a chance to focus on hockey, and most of your friends are just the guys at the rink. So you have a one mind focus, and so who knows? But it would have been great to play for the Pats as well. It was something that obviously I dreamed about when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, don't we all? And I think that everything happens for a reason. It worked out great. But I just remember being with the Pats at the time going, how are all these Regina kids going elsewhere? Boyd, Gordon, and yourself. It's a long list. We had Ebbs and Harding, too, right? And they did well, but I guess we couldn't keep them all. And then, moving into the NHL, you won a Stanley Cup, and just, I guess, your second full season, you were so young. Did you appreciate it at that time, do you think, because you were so young?
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'll tell you that. Whether I appreciated it fully at that time, I don't know. But you know what? I had the pleasure of playing with some really great players right off the hop, and being able to watch them gave me an appreciation for it that I don't know that I could have got from anyone else. So, watching Tamo and Prongs and those guys that have just battled for their whole career in order to try and get that thing was incredible.
For sure. And you're a humble guy, your whole family is, but I put on Twitter yesterday, I got the greatest Duck ever coming on the show tomorrow, and nobody argued it. Not one, not even the Ducks fans. That's a hell of an honor. What did you learn from those guys when you were a kid? Because there's been some great Ducks. Who were the ones that really had a great influence on you?
You know what? I could go down the list. Those first couple of years, I learned a lot. The Niedermeyer brothers, Pronger, Jaguar, Tamo, Brad May for that matter. Guys that you don't really expect. Todd Marchand's professionalism, showing up at the rink every day, ready to work. All those kind of things helped mold me to who I was as a player and how I became as a man.
No doubt. Now, let me just flat out ask you this. It's your first year in retirement. How is it?
Oh, it's wonderful, Rod. Not waking up sore every day. Not waking up sore every day is a wonderful feeling. But, there's certain aspects of the game that obviously you miss. But I was definitely ready to be where I am today and be with my kids and really enjoy retirement.
Good. I like the answer. I really do. I do, because so many guys say they miss it, and I'll be honest with you. Our mutual friend Serena, she said she's the one that pointed this out. Southern California girls. She's like, Getz leaves, Ducks. That's got to bother you a little bit. All right, it's fact.
I mean, if it's whether it happened or not, or your role, you can't like that. You're going to be a Ducks fan forever.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough watching, especially with so many friends in the room. Going through what they're going through this year, and the struggles didn't start this year. The last couple of years we've kind of struggled to get where we need to be, and didn't have a direct path back to where we were. So I think me stepping away at this time was, for them, a new beginning, and obviously they're starting right at the bottom. So,
did they ever name a captain this year?
They have not named a captain, no. I think that Pat really wanted to just kind of take the year and establish what direction the team was going to be in, and who was still going to be around for that direction.
Well, and I think I'm not blowing smoke when I said I was eager to interview you, because I talk to your brother Chris all the time, but Chris, he holds his cards here. He doesn't say. Like, your last contract.
What?
Your last
what do you mean?
contract. Well, I said, Chris, where's Ryan going to sign? And he's like, well, maybe he'd like to play in a Canadian market. That's what I'm saying. He was kind of putting it out there that maybe you would sign in Canada, and then people are like, and then you signed.
So he's the one who started all those rumors.
It was absolutely your brother that started all those rumors, unless you don't tell him anything. But I know how tight you guys are. Like, you guys' relationships as brothers is like inspirational for anybody that has brothers. I know how super tight you are. I thought you put him up to it, to be honest.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, like you said, my brother holds things pretty close in most conversations. So that wasn't a planned thing. I promise you that.
Well, he didn't say squat about his own career when he was playing. He wasn't going to say anything about your career. I know that for a fact, but I don't think you have any regrets. I think it's cool to look at, I got your Hockey DB up here right now, and just to look at Anaheim. I'm not a guy that's jumping all over. Did you ever consider leaving, especially near the end of your career?
I did consider the COVID year. We had that one season where we played without fans, and it was I think it was my second to last season. And that year was a hard year. It was a weird scenario with all the, empty buildings and everything going on. And Bob Murray, our GM, and me kind of had a discussion at the trade deadline. And at that time, I wasn't sure really what I wanted to do, how long I wanted to play. And I didn't want to strip Bob of the chance to make the team better, faster. So those were the discussions that we had. And I said basically that if he had a chance to do that, to try and turn the organization around faster, then I would like him to consider. Obviously, I held the cards in the fact that I had a no-move clause. So ultimately, it was going to be up to me. And had a long night that night before the trade deadline. We kind of had a semi-deal in place with Vegas, and ultimately both of us decided that it wasn't the right time and it wasn't the right decision.
And so looking back, I can't imagine you regret having made that decision.
Ultimately, I think standing on the ice at the end of my last season there, what it meant to the fans, what it meant to all of us in that building that night, I have no regrets on that.
Good, because that's the way you should live your life. And the one thing is, one of your past assistant coaches, Rich Preston, very close friend of mine, he said when he was coaching you, I was at a morning skate. I was on your bench, actually. And he's like, look at Getz. He just does whatever he wants out there. I'm like, yeah, he kind of does, and he kind of always has. I mean, when you look at what you did as a player, you can't have any regrets on the ice either. You left it all out there as a player.
Yeah, I tried. I mean, that was definitely that I always, when I stepped on that ice, I was trying to compete. And, and I always kind of lived by the motto that I would never ask a teammate to do something I wasn't willing to do. So that encompassed the whole game. So if I was going to need to block shots or fight or score or whatever I had to do, I wanted to try and do that.
Outstanding. And I guess the way I'll just end it, Getz, is what is up for your future? I know you're in business down there and stuff. What are you looking at for the rest of your life post-hockey?
We'll see. You know what? It's a different feeling not having a direct path on what direction you want to go. But I'm feeling things out. The joy of being retired and having the career that I was able to have is that I don't have a lot of pressure right now to make those big decisions. But like to stay in the game in some capacity. Very interested in the management side of things and how you put teams together and all that. So we'll see how it goes down the road here.
Well, you certainly have a lot to offer in that regard, but I haven't had a chance to talk to you, so just congratulations on the career and being a great dad and a great husband. It's a great family, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Pence. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be a fun night. I'm looking forward to it. So it's always good to come back to Saskatchewan and do something like this.
Right, thanks for doing it. I know they appreciate it. Thanks, Getz. We'll see you then.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
And Anaheim Ducks great Ryan Getzlaf joining us from Southern California, and April 29th in Pence, Saskatchewan, a fundraiser for that community, sports dinners that we do. It'll be Ryan Getzlaf and his brother Chris, his older brother Chris, a Grey Cup champion, two-time Grey Cup champion with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They'll be the guest speakers. I will be the host of it. When we come back, the Moose is going to rejoin us, and I apologize that I didn't get your if there are questions that have come in from our audience, I apologize that I didn't get to them. But I didn't want to be disrespectful to Ryan and not look him in the eye as we were sitting here. You know what? Brian in Beausejour, Manitoba has written in and he says, hey, Ryan, did you ever think of playing football like your brother? I got an idea. Anybody that wants to ask a question of Ryan, buy a ticket and come join us in Penn. And failing that, I'll ask him then, because that's a good point. But that's kind of that everything happens for a reason thing that I firmly believe in. And I've talked to Chris about this. We got to get Chris on this topic in this show. Chris Getzlaf, the Hall of Fame Rough Rider receiver, because Chris played hockey, but football kind of tugged him that way, and hockey kind of tugged Ryan that way, and what a family. And I just love walking into that Boston Pizza in South Regina on Albert Street and seeing those two Getzlaf jerseys up on the wall. You imagine being their dad, Steve? Ducks jersey, Getzlaf. Rider jersey, Getzlaf. Framed, perfect. On that hockey topic, Chris is watching in Heidelberg, Ontario. And he says, last Thursday, our Kitchener Rangers swept the #1 Windsor Spitfire. First time ever in the OHL, an 8 seed swept the #1. This sets up a round 2 matchup with the always fashionable and hated London Knights. Good luck to your Pats tonight. Let's just dig into that a little deeper and remember that Shane Wright playing for Windsor, was he not? So you load up and these things happen. So some intrigue in the OHL. Maybe we should be talking about that a little more. The Moose rejoins us next. A little later on, Chad Jeter joins us, CFL alumni, and from what I understand, United States Air Force alumni. We'll get to the bottom of his story. We're live from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube, and WQEE Radio on the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
How about that live look-in? Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, and I'm starting to get fired up for Game 7 of Pat's Blades tonight. The Moose has rejoined us from Palm Springs, California. By the way, it's truck month at Key Chevrolet Buick GMC. Get 3.49% financing up to 72 months on the 2023 Silverado 1500. Conditions apply. Go to keychev.com for more details. We went off the board a little bit with a poll question today for Key Auto Group. It is, do you believe that OBJ will be catching passes from Lamar Jackson in 2023? The Baltimore Ravens signing OBJ on Sunday, 1 year, $15 million, they told. Interestingly, now on Twitter, the results are 50-50, right down the middle. Right down. Darren and I both said yes. And I don't know why. For those that are voting no, please tell me no, or why you're voting no. Clark, what are they saying on YouTube? What do you have there? 54% say, no, they're not going to catch. And I just, if it's not Lamar Jackson, then I would say, whom, Moose? Aaron Rodgers? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, I know. And, I think it won't be Aaron Rodgers, but if it's not Lamar Jackson, I would think the Ravens would want to know if he's going to sign. I know they have till July. But do the Ravens start to inquire about a high draft pick? And the Cardinals have been linked to maybe moving their draft pick. There's a lot of buzz about the Cardinals' third overall pick, and they said they've received calls from at least 6 different NFL teams with interest. Are the Ravens one that maybe want to pair a young, bright, hot prospect like C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or the Richardson kid out of Florida to be throwing footballs to OBJ? Either way, OBJ is going to want to know he's got an elite level quarterback and a plan for the future with the Ravens if it's not Lamar Jackson.
By the way, from the Four Seasons Sports Palace, the Greek Freak has chimed in. George Janitsos, he says, go Pats, go. Go Team Canada, go. Go Leafs, go. These are the kind of days that we need to tranquilize the Greek Freak. From Monday yet, we're coming in hot. But I will tell you that they will have the game tonight, Game 7, Pats and Blades on their video wall there. No cover ever at the Four Seasons Sports Palace. Everybody wants to talk about Ryan Getzlaf, and I get it. Allie is watching in Texar, Canada, and she says, great interview. What a great guy and player. He is a great guy. From Glenn, he is watching in the Queen City. He says, good interview with Ryan Getzlaf. They talk about the Gordie Howe hat trick. Still remember the Getzlaf hat trick. A fight, a goal, and his wife having a baby on the same day. How about that?
How about that?
I actually forgot about that, but I will ask him about that in Pence when we're speaking on April 29th at the Pence Sports Celebrity Dinner. Darren, do you know on Facebook, have they taken that option away of turning your photos into 3D? Have they taken that off Facebook? Because I tried to do that.
I don't know if they have. I don't think so. Why?
Oh, because I posted a photo that my guy Seth took today. I tried to make it 3D, and we couldn't do it. But regarding Getzlaf, I got a lot of stories about that kid because I've been around that family for a real long time. And so he'd have been 19 when they won the Stanley Cup. No older than 20, but I think 19. And listen, man, you think when you're 19 or 20, you know everything. But you really know nothing. Even at 50, you don't. But the point is, he wins the Stanley Cup. He wants to bring it back to his hometown. He didn't hardly know anybody other than his own circle of friends. So he called me and said, will you come MC my Stanley Cup party? And I said, yeah. What do you want to do? He's like, I don't know. So he got a convertible vehicle from Capital, and we had a little mini parade. And we had the Stanley Cup on the back of this Mustang, silver Mustang convertible. To this day, I have the photos of it. And then we had a little road hockey tournament at the Connexus Arts Center, the formerly Center of the Arts for the older people. And you know how they have that little drive up, that platform in the middle of the, or out front, of the thing? That's where we played road hockey all day. And they hand me the microphone, and they're like, announce. And I'm like, what do you want me to say? Whatever, just announce. Okay. So it was highly unorganized, but the point is, Getz is 19. He didn't expect, I don't think, to win a Stanley Cup that young. And these guys, how often do you really think about, if I ever won the Stanley Cup, this is what I do? I have thought about it, but I was never going to win it. Ryan hadn't thought of it. Folks, if you won the Stanley Cup, what would you do? You would obviously take it to the Wynyard Hotel, if there is one.
Yeah, that would probably be it. You know, but I've never really had that thought either. I've thought, you know what, if I win the cup, I'm going to raise it over my head, because all I think about is the celebration on the ice. I never think about your day with the cup. But now that I think about it, yeah, I'd probably take it back to Wynyard, the hotel, show it to everybody, do that thing, friends and family. People talk about, you know, Ovechkin slept with the cup. That would be probably a lot of people's things that they would do, or eat cereal, your breakfast cereal out of the Stanley Cup. Drink coffee maybe out of the cup, my morning coffee. That might be cool. Those would be on my list.
Yeah. If you won the Stanley Cup, what would you do with it, folks? I would take it to the Milestone Hotel. I have been thinking about that since I was a child. And a parade down Main Street, which would take 30 seconds. 640 people in that town where I grew up. John Ohm says, fantastic interview. It just was. He's just a good guy. And I'll say anything that we've ever asked him to do, he's done. He's just that kind of guy. Tank is watching in the Energy City, and he says the Baltimore Ravens should just back the Brinks truck up and pay the MVP quarterback they have in the house and be done with it. Go Pats. There might be more to it than meets the eye. Like, you understand, we know nothing. we know nothing. And it seems like they're not getting along, the Ravens and Lamar. He didn't even travel on the road to their playoff game. Do you think that's just about money? I don't think so. There's got to be more to it.
Yeah, there definitely is, especially when it comes to Lamar and the management. I don't know what the relationship is with John Harbaugh, the coach, the coordinators, the players in that locker room. I'd like to think if there's any shot of him coming back, that relationship has to still be a good one. Otherwise, why wouldn't you move him at whatever cost? But at management, I think Lamar in that situation, he was absolutely making a statement that said, you better treat me better or you're not going to have me. Whether it's on the road here, I'm not going to be all in, kind of work to rule, so to speak. And I think he made a big statement, and now, we're waiting to see what he's going to get paid.
It's interesting. He is such a great player. Such a great player. MVP of the league on his resume. So that's why I voted yes. For anybody who's voting no, I'd like to know why they're voting no. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says those summer Stanley Cup Tour parades all look rushed, like no one's thought of much outside of eating or drinking out of it. They are all rushed. I mean, that's the one wonderful thing about Saskatchewan and me being on the air there for 30 years. All those NHL guys, they leave when they're young. They don't know a lot of other guys. Like Jared Stoll when they won the Stanley Cup in L.A., we've told that story. Jared Stoll called me. Rod, would you come up and do your show in Yorkton? We're having a Stanley Cup parade. Yeah. Where do you want me to do the show? What do you want me to do? I have no idea. We'll talk when you get here. So we did. And we had a great time. And my good guy, Derek Myers, he and I went up there. We had got a Mercedes convertible and had the Stanley Cup. No, we didn't have the Stanley Cup in the back. Jared Stoll had the Stanley Cup, and he was on a fire engine. We got great photos of that. What a night. From our director of scouting, Craig Smith, he says, I had the Grey Cup, took it to Nikki's, to friends in a fire hall. Everyone appreciated it so much. Nikki's Cafe he's talking about. Great spot. Ryan in Saratoga, New York says, the Ravens outbid the Jets. It's as simple as that. Regarding Game 7 tonight in the Western Hockey League, I got some time for this. And bear with me for our viewers all across Canada. I do want to talk before we go. This is the last segment with you, Darren, about Raptors Blue Jay. But Glenn, watching in Medicine Hat, says, anybody out there in RP Show land know what the Saskatoon Blades record is in Game 7s over the course of their 59-year WHL history? Well, I know they beat us in 2000, and that sucked. Do you? Brad McCrimmon.
Not off the top of my head. No, I'm with you on that. I know, the Blades have had some success, not a lot. I mean, no WHL banner. It's a great question. I haven't looked up the 59-year history of Game 7s for Saskatoon, but that's what happens in Game 7. Anything can happen. People talk about, hey, the Blades have been the better team in this series. Look at the way the game's played. Possession, shots, chances, blah, blah, blah. But we're at Game 7. And the Pats have a great goaltending, good defense, scoring power. Dangerous. This is going to be anybody's game. There's going to be a ton of nerves. It's fun.
Glenn, don't be that guy. Please be that guy that knows the answer and asked it to make us all look like fools. Tell us. My point is, I know they're not winless because they beat us in 2000 with Brad McCrimmon, and Tim Tisdale was ours. Coach, are they going to let him in the rink tonight? Jen from the Four Seasons says, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone had a fabulous Easter. Game 7 tonight. Go, Pats, go. Let's do this. Yeah, man, they're going off the chain. So my guy Randy in Cochrane went out to his place yesterday, as you know, for an Easter supper, and he made Greek food. It was amazing. He's good. And he talked about living in Toronto, I think for 8 years. Oakville, as a matter of fact. And he said he came away with that, come back to Western Canada as being a huge Raptors and Blue Jays fan. And I said, you kind of got sucked into that MLSE thing, which I know that the Blue Jays are not that. But the Toronto sports thing is a thing, you know? You love your Leafs. You love your Raptors, obviously. No, you love your Blue Jays, obviously. But how much are you clinging on this Raptors-Bulls game this week, Moose? Are you in that mentality like everybody else in the big smoke?
I'm a Raptors fan, no doubt, but NBA is not my thing, and I don't live and die with what the Raptors do on a daily basis. So, no, I'm not sitting here anticipating the game and that, hung on to it. I'll be following, and I'll hope the Raptors win, but by no means is it, for me, riddled with anxiety about a play-in tournament game with the Bulls. Raptors don't quite register that way for me.
And that's fine. I mean, listen, I wish you'd have been there because we had a great time sitting there watching sports all day and talking sports all day, eating and then going back and doing it again, watching sports and talking sports all day. And he gave me some, he's a TV guy, actually. And he gave me some ideas and thoughts on the show. But then he brought up the UFC. And he's like, the one thing you guys don't talk about, or maybe you should, is the UFC. I'm like, oh, my God. We got into that in the pandemic because there was nothing else going on. And by the way, Randy's been watching this show since pretty much day one. But I don't know. I feel very lucky with hockey that it's almost a 12-month sport. It's like the NFL in America, right? You're playing for 10 months.
Yeah.
And then you got free agency, you got the draft, you got all the... I'm good with the hockey. We might dabble in the UFC, but I think we're doing just fine. Hey, Arlen Bruce III has checked in. AB, he says, great morning, RP and Moose. The Grey Cup is 223 days away, November 19th, 2023, at Tim Hortons Field. And the Hammer. Well, I feel like we're going to be there, Moose, broadcasting live. And for our football fans, while Chad Jeter's coming up next, I'm looking forward to that chat. But this Friday, confirmed, Jay McNeil, the Vice President of Business Operations with the Calgary Stampeders, will be with us. And right here, longtime Calgary Stampeders offensive lineman. Troy Calmer has written in from Toronto. He's watching currently. He says, I would take the cup to my old high school to show the kids, host a party at the Bramalia Lions Hall, and lastly, a short parade in downtown Brampton, ending at the famous Sonny's Burger Drive-In. Well, that just sounds fantastic.
Doesn't it?
Doesn't it? He's put some thought into that. I like it. Kevin the Medium says, if I had a day with the cup, I would bring it back to the neighborhood where I grew up. You sure about that, Kevin? Don't take your eye off that. I know where you grew up. Your hubcaps might be missing by the end of the day. Okay, Moose, we're done. Enjoy Game 7 tonight. Be safe.
Yes. Thank you. You too.
Chad Jeter joining us next. Very much looking forward to that discussion. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on the Game Plus Television Network and WQEE, the Fringe Radio Network.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time. I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Your favorite daytime sports talk show continues on the Game Plus television network. We're also streaming, and we're on the KWQE 99.1 FM radio. And listen, all you need to know, well, it actually doesn't tell the whole story. Chad Jeter, if you look him up on Wikipedia, it's a big deal now. He's got his own Wikipedia page from Emo, South Carolina. Defensive lineman, played at Gardner-Webb. High school ball at Dutch Fork, and played in the CFL with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Montreal Alouettes. That's where we got to know each other. We were together in 2018, and last I heard, he joined the United States Air Force. And producer Clark's like, you got to get Chad on. He's got a story. He's making some noise. He's an entrepreneur, too. Let's bring him on, Chad Jeter. The last I heard, he was in Minot, North Dakota, the Magic City. Chad, what's up with you, man?
Nothing, man. How you been?
Top of the world. Are you kidding me? Broadcasting from a casino every day. Life is good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a while since I've been on
what's
here.
the update? Yeah, it's since the pandemic, actually. And I think our our football sim broadcast. So what's going on in the world of Chad Jeter?
Nothing, man. I actually, April 7th was my last day in the military. So I got my honorable discharge. So I'm officially done with the Air Force.
Okay. Well, let's walk it back, man. Clark tells me that you got some interesting stuff going on. So I'm interested to hear what that is and what's next. I mean, you don't just go through basic training and United States Air Force without learning a lot. So aside from football,
yeah,
what went on there?
Yeah, I had an interesting time in the military. Like you said, I did basic, and then I ended up going to San Angelo, Texas. I was in for a firefighter, but I got disqualified from firefighter, and my actual Air Force contract that I signed was a guaranteed firefighter contract, and it states that if I'm not allowed to do that job, that I can put in for a separation. So after I was disqualified from fire, I put in for my separation, and it took me about a year and 4 months to actually get it. So it was no fault of my own. It's basically like a breach of contract from the Air Force. So I was able to get out. Like I said, an honorable discharge, and I'm technically a veteran now because I served over 180 days. So that's where I am right now.
Wow. Well, so the thing is, I look at your Wikipedia, you're only 28 years old. Some would say that's the prime of your football career. So are you thinking about a comeback or no?
I don't know. I've had some people, ask me, do you want to still play, all that kind of stuff. And I would love to play, but I haven't been able to train like a professional athlete in over some time now. So it'll definitely take me a little bit to, get back into playing shape if I do choose to go down that route.
Well, take me through this, because I was dealing with a hockey player on the weekend in the recovery world, which I think you're aware of what I do there. And he talked about how the pandemic caused him a lot of mental health issues and undue stress, and he didn't deal with it well. What was it like from the pro football? And that was a junior hockey player. You were a man trying to live and support, through the pandemic. What was that like for pro football players, particularly in the CFL?
Yeah, that was one of the big reasons what, drove me to retire and to join the Air Force. We had to sit out that first year, and then, it was talks about sitting out the second year completely. I was on a PA at that time, having meetings, and it wasn't looking promising. And, I didn't want to just keep sitting around and waiting without being able to, provide for, myself or whatnot. So that's why I decided to, retire and then join the military to try to set me up a little bit better for my future. So I could, it was definitely rough, and I can only imagine what the guy was going through.
Yeah. So what led you to not want to pursue that career in the military?
The military is weird. They will basically kind of put you in the job where they best need fit. And I didn't want them to just, toss me in the job that I would have to work, for the rest of my contract and be unhappy. I didn't want to be thrown somewhere and I have to wake up every day and do a job that I don't like. So, I kind of try to protect myself from that mentally and physically.
Did you see a lot of similarities between that and football?
As far as like teamwork and the structure, yeah, football and the military, they have some similarities, but, they also have their differences. But being able to, play at a professional level and, deal with people from all over, that definitely helped me, as far as the military too, because it's the same thing that you get partnered up and teamed up with people from all different walks of life. So it definitely helps you in that aspect.
So what's next in the life and career?
Well, right now I'm actually trying to get into some law enforcement agencies. I know our last time we talked, you asked me like what my dream job was, and it's definitely to be like a special agent of some sort. So, it's many different agencies that I can apply for, but I'm trying to get on right now at an agency back at home in South Carolina.
Well, Chad, as I've told you before, you'll be at a success at whatever you decide to do. That's just entirely up to you, whatever that ends up being. So if you need anything from us, please let me know, and good luck with it. I appreciate the update.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all keeping in touch. I have to get back up to Canada soon. I got engaged recently, and I told her that I want to take her to a game in Canada, so because she's never been. So I have to get back up
well,
there.
We'll be here. You look us up, man. I don't think it'll be too hard to get to a game. Thanks, Chad, and congratulations on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
CFL alum, Montreal Alouettes and Rough Riders alum, Chad Jeter. Before we break, a sports update on this Monday. Minnesota Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert has apologized for throwing a punch at teammate Kyle Anderson during a timeout. In the second quarter against New Orleans on the weekend, Gobert took a poke at Anderson following a heated discussion between the two players. Gobert was pulled from the game after the altercation and sent home by the team. In Major League Baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays look to remain perfect when they visit the Boston Red Sox today. The Rays are the first team to start 9-0 since the 03 Kansas City Royals. The 6-4 Toronto Blue Jays play their home opener Tuesday against the Detroit Tigers. And John Rahm has become the fourth Spaniard to win the Masters. Rahm trailed Brooks Koepka by 4 shots to start the marathon day of 30 holes, which was necessary to complete the rain-delayed third round. He wound up with a runaway victory when Koepka collapsed in the final round. The sports update is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. Enter to win a movie night out at Landmark Cinemas. For movie lovers, all you have to do is text MOVIES to 902-518-3033 to be entered. In theaters, April 14th, Renfield. In this modern monster tale of Dracula's loyal servant, Nicholas Hoult stars as Renfield, the tortured aide to history's most narcissistic boss, Dracula, who's played by Nicolas Cage. Renfield is forced to procure his master's prey and do his every bidding, no matter how debased. In theaters, April 14th, Renfield. Overtime's next. We're turning it over to you, the audience, the viewers and listeners, whatever you'd like to talk about on a big night in sports. 902-518-3033. It's all coming up next. We're live from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube, and WQEE, the Fringe Radio Network.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Welcome back, everybody. Plenty of time. 7.5 minutes, Clark says. Although it will go by in a flash with us, with all these comments that have come in from our viewers today, watching on the Game Plus television network. It's a decidedly Western Canadian crowd, I feel, and I love it. Regarding those that, what would you do if you had the Stanley Cup for the day? Alan Lee, the Asian sensation, our former intern, says, if I won the Stanley Cup, I would fill it with Timbits or a nice sundae.
How about that?
What kind of Timbits, Alan? And just so you know, I had 10 birthday cake Timbits just this morning. I was treating myself. My favorite kind is birthday cake Timbits. They're next to God. What kind of Timbits, Alan? Inquiring minds want to know. Here's a good one. Rob Tyson is watching in Cold Lake, Alberta, and he writes in, he says, hi, Rod, back in the day, teams going to the Memorial Cup were allowed to pick up a player or two from teams already eliminated from playoff contention. I recall the New Westminster Bruins picked up Ed Stanowski back in the 70s when the Bruins were off to the Memorial Cup. Do they still have this rule, or when did they change it? Thanks. Early 80s. Portland Winterhawks won a Memorial Cup, and they called up a guy by the name of Mike Vernon from the Calgary Wranglers, and everybody thought that was unfair. I got to look that up. That's a long time ago, man. That's 40 years ago. I want to say shortly after Mike Vernon was picked up, they changed the rule. And wonderful topic today about the referee supervisor, my good friend Tim Tisdale, using the TV replays to make a very important call in the playoffs the other night. He was called, he got called up by Portland, but he never played a game. How about that?
How about that?
Wranglers. I believe that's what you old-timers, you're going to have to tell me. But they don't have the rule anymore. Brian, watching in Manitoba, texts in, and he says, so many key games tonight. Jets don't make me sweat any more than I need to. I don't need to lose any weight. LOL. Winnipeg Jets, home to the San Jose Sharks. Flames home to the Predators. Must win in both places. How about the Leafs at Florida? The Leafs are, I watched the game Saturday night, or at least the intermission and part of their game. They had their way with Montreal, right, Clark? The Leafs are just fine-tuning for the playoffs. Florida needs to win tonight. They can clinch if they win tonight against a Leafs team that really, I don't think, has anything to play for. That's a key game, too. 10 games, they're all key. Ron, here in Calgary, writes in on the 902 line, and he says, great show today. I'm thinking I was right all along about my next year Flames. I saw somebody put on Twitter here that this is the most disappointing season in Flames history. And maybe it is. He might have said the most up and down season in Flames history, or the most maddening season in Flames history. And I would say that's probably right. They finished first last year. They beat Dallas in a 7-game first-round series last year. And then they get flattened by the Oilers in a 5-game series. They get rid of 2 guys who, as it turns out, didn't want to be here. Bring in 2 guys that's supposed to make them better. And there's a very good chance they're going to make the playoffs. It makes no sense. And to be honest with you, Ron, you talk, so it's not going to sit, they're not going to accept in this town the sense that I get to bring everybody back. If they miss the playoffs, somebody's got to go. Could be Daryl Sutter, could be the GM, Brad Treliving, could be both of them. One thing's for sure is the players aren't going anywhere. The ones that came, Huberdeau, Kadri, the disappointing guys, they're going to be back, but not everybody's going to be back. It's a real conundrum for Brad Treliving and probably the ownership. To the streaming chat, Colin in Ottawa says, is there an unwritten rule that a team that is going to be eliminated from playoff contention in the WHL would trade their star 19-year-olds because it's their last chance to get a Memorial Cup? They don't trade them for the players' benefit. They trade them for their own benefit. And again, Bedard's only 17. It's not an unwritten rule, but they do it far more in the OHL and the Q. But it's happened this year in the Dub. Kamloops made their trades. Seattle made their trades. Yeah, it always happens. But the concept that the guy wrote in about picking up players from teams that were eliminated, the host team, that doesn't happen anymore. Wouldn't it be nice if it did? We might have a better record as host teams. Allie in Texarkana says, if I won the Stanley Cup, I would give my day to my captain, Jamie Benn, to have for the day after I took a pic with it and him. Love my captain. He's a hell of a player. People complaining about our commercials, that there's too many. Don't we all feel that way? Why do we have to have intermissions in hockey? Why do we have to have that? From Ryan O'Radio, he says, another great RP show, Atlanta's NHL show. Thank you. Hey, Al Bundy, who's new, by the way? He says, I watch Pat McAfee or CBS NFL Sports at this time of the day, but I've been watching Rod the last week to give it a tryout. Yeah, and you're still here. What does that say? We appreciate you. On the Game 7, Nelson says, does Bedard put the Pats on his back for the upset, or do the well-rounded Blades run the Pats out of gas? Well, ain't that the $64,000 question? But in a one-game showdown, you're going to bet against the best player in the world, the best junior hockey player in the world? I'm not. It's up on my commentary today at rodpeterson.com. John in Edmonton says, Roddy, do you think Connor Bedard will come back to the Regina Pats next year or go to a farm team? No. As Craig Button said on this stage last week, the only way Connor Bedard goes back to junior next year is if the NHL doesn't play. And we're pretty sure that's not going to happen. Tim Hunter is going to join us live. And who else do we have tomorrow, Clark? Can you tell me? Oh, David William Naylor, the ageless TSN CFL insider. It's going to be a big one tomorrow. Tim Hunter and Dave Naylor. Enjoy all the games, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow here at noon Eastern on Game Plus and the Key.
Who has more fun than us?